Hello again, and I'm sorry it's been so long since I've made a video. I have been snowed under with getting my house declutter, my ultimate declutter, emptying out my house. I'm also planning to go out to France soon. I really need to get everything done before I go. So it's been crazy busy. I've loved all your comments. I've loved the new subscribers. Please stick with us and hopefully we won't disappoint. Today's going to be a slightly different format. I've been watching on UK TV a series called David and Jay's Touring Toolshed, and I thought it was going to be just my cup of tea, and really it's been a bit of a disappointment. And it's been a disappointment because every episode they pick one subject, and if that's not your thing, then that whole episode is worthless. And I sort of thought I need to do a bit more covering different things. So this is going to be a bit of a catch-all. There's going to be a few different things in this. I'll get onto that in a minute. Let me know in the comments whether you like this new format or not. You might hate it. Let me know, and you know, I'll go with what everybody thinks. Today I'm going to be looking at how I do my planning, how I stay efficient, and hopefully that's of interest. And I'm going to go through a bit more of my declutter, how I've been getting on with it and what I've been doing. Every year I print out my list of New Year's resolutions to pin on the wall in my office. Every year I look at the list and it's exactly the same list as the year before. Now that's telling me something. That list's been the same probably for 5 or 6 years. Learn French, get fit, lose some weight, learn a musical instrument. Oh, there's a million things on there. Control of the finances, you know, usual sort of crap that we put on our New Year's resolutions. And every year I print the same list out and I don't do them. So the theory now, and I'm going to come on to this is a thing called the best self journal. The theory is that you shouldn't be setting a New Year's resolution. You should be setting a plan. So in other words, it's no good saying get fit. What you have to do is say, every week I'm going to do this much exercise, or every day I'm going to do some exercise, or and within a month I'm going to be able to run a mile. Within 3 months I'm going to be able to do a half marathon. And set yourself a plan, not a resolution. And that's in this thing called the Best Self Journal, which we're going to have a look at in a minute. How often do you get to the end of your day and think, where the hell's that day gone? What have I done? And you find that you've fannied about doing menial to-do tasks that actually haven't progressed your plans at all. And really you're wasting your life. Sorry to be too blunt, but you're wasting your life on things that don't matter. Busy stamping on those ants while the elephants stroll past. And I'm guilty of it too. And so I've been trying to refine my to-do list. And in fact, I'll retract that. It shouldn't be a to-do list. It should be a goals list, and that's in the Best Self Journal. But I've been refining this, how to get things done efficiently. Over the years, I've got a system now that fits me quite well. But every system's got little flaws, and I'm trying to get to the ultimate system. Follow along and we'll have a look at them all. There's a little bit of a conflict here, because here I am saying you've got to get the most out your day, when not so long ago I was telling you to meditate and it's okay to not be busy. And that's still true. What I'm saying here is not that you have to fill your day with being productive all day. What I'm saying is when you're being productive, at least be productive. In other words, be efficient. When you're being productive, you'll get more done, which will then allow you more time to take out and do nothing, etc., etc. So before one of you comments on that, I thought I'd better just explain that. Years ago we had a thing called time system. Oh, it was very exciting. This is long before the days of electronic calendars and things, and you could buy all these fancy calendars in weeks and you bought a folder, it went in. It's a little bit like Filofax on steroids. It was hugely expensive because you bought everything from Time System. I think they're Danish, and they had their own custom ring size So you had to buy everything from them or buy their exorbitantly pricey hole punch to make things fit. But it was a good system. And as I say, before a lot of the electronic systems, this worked for me, albeit a very expensive solution. I then moved on to what's called bullet journals, and if you do a quick search on YouTube on bullet journals, you'll find this type of journal. This one's moleskin. I absolutely love them. They're beautiful things. I love opening them and writing my name in them and doodling in them and whatever else. I like to write and draw and doodle, so I love these things. And the bullet journal looked like the ultimate solution. Basically, you devised your own system. You made up your page, today's date, your targets or your focus or whatever, your to-do list, your diary, etc, etc, etc. And you drew it all out and filled it in and doodled all over, and it was lovely. The problem I had was that I found that I was spending half an hour to an hour of every day fannying around making my bullet journal rather than getting on with things. The good point was that it evolved over time. And so when you found that every day you needed a space to put, I don't know, time recordings because you're invoicing on time, I don't know, whatever, you draw it in, and then after a little while your bullet journal would evolve into what you wanted. And I liked that, but I just got bored of drawing out the same days and whatever. It's like hand making a book. So I gave up on the bullet journal fairly early. When I had my time system, it was a ring binder that you bought with your system, probably at some exorbitantly overinflated price. This isn't it, by the way. I'll come on to what this is because this is gorgeous. But you bought a folder like this called Time System, and you filled it all in, and you could archive things into the Time System box and all the rest of it. It was like a personal filing system. I had this in my car one night. My car got broken into for the car radio. This was in the days when radios were worth stealing out of cars, and the buggers who broke into my car stole my time system and then drove down the motorway, tearing the pages out and throwing them out the window. They had all my sales leads, they had all my time recording, they had all my contacts, they had everything. And I remember for about a day walking down a wet motorway in pouring rain, picking up soggy bits of paper and having to dry them carefully so that I could then photocopy them to get back my time system. That made me think that I had to go digital, and the next step I went iPad, and I went iPad with a pencil and a paper-like cover. If you pencil onto a glass iPad, it's a horrible feeling. Your stylus goes all over the place, doesn't feel right. Whereas this is a cover you put on your iPad. It's called Paper-like. It's very good. It's a bugger to put on. If you get it right, it's beautiful. You often get a little speck of dust, which drives me mad. But anyway, that's another story. A little trip down Tangent Boulevard there. So this actually solved a lot of problems. What this did was it allowed me to design a page template. It even allowed me to have a book, if I can find it, so I could make notebooks. And I actually made a notebook like my time system or like my moleskins, so they even looked like it, and it sort of worked. I would let's just find a page that hasn't got anything rude written on it or sensitive. Yeah, so there's a typical page. I've put in the date. I have a focus up here, so anything really important has to get done goes in there. I have a diary down the left hand side, which I often use just as loose notes, and then I have a to-dos list down the right hand side, and this one's called Other Shite. You can call it what you like, but that just appealed to me. Anything, you know, like just remember the combination lock, I need to remember, scribble it in there type of thing. That worked well for me. All the systems I've discussed so far have one fundamental flaw, which may or may not affect you. But for me, I like to have my to-do list in my face. The problem with this, you leave it a few minutes, the screen goes off, you shut that, your list is gone. You shut that, your list is gone. You shut that, your list is gone. So I resorted to small pieces of card that I bought in the supermarket in France. I think they're used in schools. Absolutely lovely. And I'd write one for every day. I'd write it however I liked. I have devised a sort of little system where an arrow this way means I'm going to leave this today, push it into another day, it's not important. A cross means I'm not going to do this, and then I cross it out. When I've done it, I cross it out. Any notes I put on the back, there's no notes here, but you know, there's plenty of space to scribble notes for the day. And at the end of the year, or whenever you feel like it, you get the block of all your notes, block them together, chuck them in a scanner. I've got one of these feed scanners. It literally just scans that lot, boom, done, backed up, and then you throw them out or destroy them so nobody else can read them where you've written that combination lock number on them. This for me worked beautifully because it stayed in front of me. I'll put a picture in of how I do that on my desk. I use a little magnet and just pop it in front of me, and it's in front of me all day. If I've got a list halfway through the day, I haven't got halfway down that list ticked off, I know I'm not pushing. So why then did I move to the Best Self Journal? Well, the Best Self Journal has some good thinking. The thing about the Best Self Journal is it's about achieving your goals, not setting resolutions, not setting where you want to be, but how you want to get there. I like the Best Self. There's a lot of it I don't use. There's a lot of it I find a bit tricky, and if you're not careful, I find I'm doing too much of it, or it just doesn't motivate me. But there's a lot of good things in the Best Self. And I thought, I'll take the Best Self and put it in here, you know, into a format that I can use and back up. Because again, the Best Self, you can't back that up. I mean, there's a few of them where I've cut the spine off and put them through the scanner at the end of the Best Self, just so I've got a record of them. But really, you lose that, you've lost everything inside it. And I was looking for the ultimate system, and this is what I've come up with. So let's have a quick look at my Best Self journal. I'm not going to do an unboxing video. I cannot for the life of me imagine why people are interested in looking at a box being unpacked. So when it arrives, it's all wrapped up. It feels like a real quality product. And in the box, you get, when I can get them out, you get a self-journal guidebook. It's pretty good. It's not too long, and it covers why you're doing it. I had a couple of issues with this. So for example, they give you 3 big goals for your 3 months. I had 4, and I guess they're saying if you've got more than 3, you're probably not going to get them done. But it's all about goals and progress and steps, and basically what you've got to do every day to get to that point. It's a good guidebook. You can see I've signed it here with my coffee mug. Also in there's the Best Self roadmap to success. I've never used this. I don't put it on my wall. I've never found a purpose for it. I find it a bit gaudy, but I'm sure there are people that can make use of that. Likewise, there's a morning ritual and an evening ritual card. Again, if I want something like that, I do it myself, really. And then there's the main reason you're buying it. Let's get rid of that box just to get rid of the distraction. So here's the Best Self journal itself. It's actually a really nice item. It has 3 really good place marker ribbons. It has this rather nice elastic thing to keep it closed, and it's pretty unique in the fact that it's got a linen cover, though I've only had mine a few weeks. Look at the state of my linen cover already. So I'm not overly chuffed with the linen cover. While it makes it unique, it makes it impossible to wipe down. And at the end of 3 months, I reckon this is going to look pretty knackered. I'm not going to show you my details. I love you all, but I'm not prepared to put my address and mobile number on the internet. So basically, you go through your bucket list and where you are at the moment, and you score everything. I don't think there's anything too exciting in here that I'm sharing with you, but basically you go through at the beginning and then you do the same again at the end, and you can then work out whether you've improved in those areas. You then get 3 13-week goals. Now, I'm not going to show you my third one because actually it's got my address and everything on it, and again, I love sharing with you guys, but not everything. So my main goal is to convert 25% of my income into passive income. Again, this is a 3-month goal, so at the end of the year I'd like to be entirely passive income. I'm figuring that I can take over 25%, maybe 50%, and then the lot. The motivation for why I'm doing it: better work-life balance, and spend more time, quality time in France, basically. And what I've got to do to get there. So the milestones, the steps along the way. I've got to launch a product, monetize Grumpy Old Man, regular work on a chosen product. Now I've got lots of product ideas, and I've tended to be pushing around in different areas and not concentrating on one. So this is to actually pick a product and then finish it, get it done. For Grumpy Old Man, it's produce a weekly video. Well, I'm missing that guideline already, aren't I? Because this one's way out. Product shorts to get monetized. So until I do a few more shorts, I'm going to struggle to get monetized, and I'd like to do that. That again brings me into a passive income. The others are fitness, get mountain fit, both mentally and physically. There was a time when I used to trot up a 3,000-foot mountain without any thought or worry or even getting out of puff. Can't do that any longer. So my motivations: feel better and might even live longer, and stay off medication, especially blood pressure. So by getting healthier, I can go longer without being on medication, which is starting to rear its ugly head, and I'm very keen not to be on any medication. And there's my progress milestones. So lose a stone in weight, join a fitness group or climb a mountain, get daily step average above 8,000. I'm pretty much there on that one now. Then there's the critical drivers, which is the things I'm going to do to get there. So follow my diet rules, see next page. Yep, we'll come on to that. Regular exercise, get back on my bike. I've got a beautiful bike, haven't ridden it for years, since I got a dog that is too small to run beside my bike. And so I need to get back on my bike, join a fitness group, climb a mountain, walk every day. And I've got walk every day in there twice. So I then have a third goal over here. As I say, it's about clearing and decluttering and selling my house, but I've named my house in there and I don't really want to share that with you lovely people. So we then have a habit tracker for each month, and you decide what you're going to do to help work your way towards your goals, and then you cross off each day that you do it. The theory being that if you've got a long row of crosses and then you miss one day, it really screams at you. And if you've got OCD like me, that'll be perfect. So the things I've chosen is low salt and low artificial sugars. I'm trying to get the salt right down. That's part of my blood pressure campaign. And I'm trying to cut down on artificial sugars. That's part of losing weight and getting fit. 2+ litres of water per day. I haven't been very good on that one. Look, no bed picnics. I have a habit of cutting a piece of cheese when I go up to bed. It's a terrible habit. No snacking between meals, another bad habit of mine. Go down, make a coffee, and I sort of open the fridge door and have a quick browse for a snack. And that's not a good habit. Daily exercise, however small. So that, for example, I do a fast walk, quite a decent length walk. And if I don't do it, then in the evening before bed, I do sit-ups, planks, press-ups, that sort of thing. Smaller portions. I've noticed I tip out a huge portion of food, and so that's reducing my portion side. Work on passive income. I haven't even started that yet, look. But that's partly because I've got this project that's pretty much filling up my day at the moment. Weigh every day, so step on the scales every day. I'm pretty good at that. check every transaction. So at the moment, I've got a thing to go through my bank, check every single transaction that goes through my bank, and very quickly you realise there's those £4 that's been coming out every month for something you don't even know what it is, or you don't even use it anymore. You know, these micro transactions. So that's to check my transactions. Some French, so I'm trying to, on a daily basis, have at least an hour or two of listening to French, either French radio, watching French television or the like, to get my French up to speed. Meditate, look, not been very good on that. Want to really do that every day. And focus periods, I have actually done those, I just haven't recorded them. So one of the things I'm working on at the moment is close focus. So basically start a job, do nothing until that job's finished. We also have a weekly planning page, and that's more about scoring your day. So this was my first one. I haven't really done much of it. I've not been good on it. So here's an example one. I've got sort of 3 top objectives. Well, I hate to say it, but my week has way more than 3 objectives, and so that doesn't really fit my usage. Then we've got some day plans where you can put in any other things. Again, that doesn't really fit. If I look at my calendar, it's way more complex than that, even on a daily basis. So I found really that this weekly planning I'm not using very much, but I probably should be using some of it, because, for example, it's got weekly reflection. So you look through how your week went, you score your week. What were your 3 big wins for the week? What was the best thing that happened to you this week? Review your goals and assess your progress. How will you improve next week? And your remaining weeks down the bottom here. To be honest, this is all good stuff, and I probably should be using it, but I'm not. And that's partly because I just don't want to spend my whole time working on a journal. My journal has to work for me, really. Though, as I say, this is all good stuff, and probably I will have to get back into using this. What I found in the past was that you start these journals, you're not very good at them. You either overdo them and then it tails off, or you start them and then you refine them to what you want, and that seems to be what I'm doing here. And then we've got the day page. This is pretty much most of your planner, your journal. It starts with gratitude. Today I'm grateful for spring's coming, thank goodness. Getting lots done. Mags and Poppy, my dog and my cat. Today. Good morning. You're so gentle, Poppy. Little micro tiger cat. Today's goals: get the kitchen painted, clear all storage documents, tidy garden. And then I break those down into targets, and you can mark them off in 30-minute time blocks. I tend not to do that. What will make today great? Seeing the house and garden decluttered and tidy. Feeling knackered from a hard day. Yeah, it's quite satisfying. And then I plan out my day. Doesn't mean I'm going to do that, but that's a plan to start with. And again, one of the problems I find with this is it's inflexible. Once you've written it in, it's written in. It's very difficult to then change it. Whereas on an electronic version, you can clear it and change it. On the right-hand side, there's just a space for making lists. What I've tended to do is to-do lists down here. And there's a danger with that. This planner is designed for you to aim at your goals and your plans, not just tick off a to-do list. And what I found I was doing was I was making a great big to-do list on this side, and then I was ticking off the to-do list but not following my goals. And so I've had to learn as I go along. At the end here, I've got a Thai curry for rewarding myself for all my hard work, and I scored that day at the end 8 out of 10, and good mood, etc., etc. That's fairly typical, and I like these pages. They work well for me, though I'm not sure about these goals. I've often got more. They don't always fit. So, for example, you've only got two subtasks here, rather. I've had to write in 3 and it doesn't fit. So again, there might be a time when that has to get changed for me. There's a little motivational saying on the top of every page, which is quite nice. And most of your planner is those pages. And so, you start and work your way through. At the end of the planner, you get to your last day, end of your 3 months, and then just as you had at the start, you've got your reflection. So how did you do on these goals? What worked and what didn't? That's an important bit, actually, because if it's not working, stop doing it. A lot of people just work on a system but don't refine it. So that's quite an important bit. And then how you feel about each of these areas. So if you look back at the beginning, you can then compare it. And at the back, there's notes, area for notes. There's a keep doing, improve on, start doing, stop doing. If you've done any agile methodology, I'm a software developer, so agile is part of my work. If you've done any agile, you'll recognise this. This is effectively a retrospective. And then some note pages. I think that's just to fill the book, because I can't imagine that's enough note pages for your average user. There's a little pocket in the back. It's quite nice. It's all nicely thought out and beautifully made, but as I say, it doesn't necessarily fit what I want. When I was using Time System, my late wife bought me this absolutely beautiful leather Mont Blanc Time System folder. It is absolutely beautiful. Obviously it has attachments as well, because my late wife bought it for me, and it's gone to waste because I'm using scrappy bits of paper. So I was thinking what I could do is combine the best self, or the best of the best self journal, with the systems that work for me, typically a card. And my plan now, I've bought some paper for this that fits this journaling system, and I'll take a piece of paper out. This is an old to-do list that came from it, and I'm going to print the equivalent of a best self journal for me, my own customized version, on this piece of paper. Print a load for the binder. I'm going to then write them up each day. I'm going to use them on my desk so that they're in front of me all the time, and at the end of the day I can cross them off, do whatever, and put them back in the binder. I haven't got to buy an expensive best self journal every 3 months. It's a far better system than this, but still has the benefit of being in front of me all the time. And it really is my combination of the very best of all my different journaling systems. I would put it on the iPad, as I had before, with its own templates, and do a template a bit like the best self journal for the iPad. But that still suffers from that problem that I've already said about. When I shut the iPad, my to-do list goes. It may be that I can come up with an electronic solution. So, for example, I can do a page of my iPad day journal and display it on my computer, and that may be something that will work, and I'll certainly look at it. But for the time being, I'm going to print a load of best self-like pages for my beautiful Mont Blanc folder and use that. If you've got a unique way of getting things done, then put it in the comments. I'd love to hear, and I think perhaps we'll come back and cover this as to what different methods people have got. Let's get on to a bit about my decluttering. My decluttering is coming along really fast. The biggest job was getting rid of all my archived accounts and paperwork. I have now burned boxes and boxes and boxes of archived paperwork. To give you a clue, these are just the boxes that were more than 7 years old that were in my attic. My attic is now pretty much cleared out. There's a few things up there, the cat basket for the vet, you know, things I'm not going to chuck out, but you can now walk around in an empty attic and it's a lovely feeling. So that was really the one that was the sort of elephant in the room, the problem that I had to solve. I think it's referred to as eating a frog. That was the frog I had to eat. And if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, somebody said, if every day you have to eat a frog, the best thing you can do, the first job you can do, is eat that frog, because everything afterwards will be a piece of cake, will be easy. So hence the term, eat that frog. Well, certainly my attic was that frog. I was really dreading going in there. It was a lot of work, but it's done, and I do feel good for it. My garden's also cleared, front and back. I'm not a great gardener. I got a guy in, he spent a day and he worked like a Trojan, and he went through the front and back garden. He's cleared everything, cut back all the dead stuff, cut everything back, cleared all the leaves. I got the pond all cleaned out, and I did that actually, cleaned out the pond full of frogs. It was lovely. I didn't eat a single one. And if you haven't been watching the rest of the video, you deserve to be confused by that. So the pond's all there, the garden's looking lovely and clear. I'm now just waiting for spring to come, and I've noticed in the last few weeks some of the bulbs, the snowdrops and some of the bulbs, daffodils, are starting to come through. Spring is finally starting to come, and finally my bees in the garden are out flying. I feared that they hadn't made it through the winter. I'd seen none of them since mid-December, I think. No, actually, I did see some Christmas Day, but I hadn't seen a lot of bees. There hadn't been a lot of activity. And then suddenly one day this week, they were all out, and it was beautiful to see because it meant they'd survived. And here comes the cat again. Welcome, Poppy, to another video. So the garden's cleared. The house is mostly repainted. I've repainted a lot of it. Some of it was a bit shabby, and I've just repainted it to freshen it up. It's almost easier than cleaning a wall, repainting it, and it makes it look better. I've had a few little bumps and blemishes I've filled and painted over, so the walls are all looking lovely. So the house is coming along well, and I'm just starting on clearing small items. So behind me, you know, I've got plants and I've got bits and pieces, boats, lots of boats, and I'm going to start packing them into boxes now. All the small clutter, it's not stuff I'm getting rid of, it's stuff that I just need to get stored up, ready for when I want to sell my house, partly to make my house look clearer and partly as part of the move. She's never going to give up, is she? And mum and dad's items, I've had some a real result there. There's a thing called fate. I don't know if you believe in it. I certainly do. I was at a party. I was at Cheesy Bingo, I think. Anyway, I was at a party with some friends, and I was chatting to a friend saying, yeah, I've got all this crap and some valuable, some rubbish antiques that my mum and dad have left me, and I don't even know what to do with them. And she said, get in touch with my brother. He's an antique dealer. He's not a good antique dealer because he's just too damned honest. And I thought, that's exactly what I need. I got in touch with him. He's in Scotland. He drove down. He's gone through everything. And he said to me, I'll just take everything. I'll be completely transparent. I'll sell it. I'll give you this much, and I'll take a percentage of this much, and I'll do everything. He's got one item which I knew was valuable. I knew it was almost unique. It's a very old stump work casket. My parents and my grandmother had said, you know, this is very valuable. This is very old. It's genuine. It's this and this. And he believes he's got a buyer for that now. And if I can get a video, I'll get you in a video of it, because it's no longer in my house. I'm not quite so paranoid about showing it to people. My problem with all my mum and dad's things were a number of things, really. The first was, I don't trust the dealers. I had a couple of dealers look at things that I knew were valuable. My mum was an antique dealer. If she said this is valuable, she knew her stuff. and they'd look at it and say, oh, well, yeah, it's not worth a lot. I'll give you this much for it. Typically less than a tenth of what I knew it was worth. And so I had a bad experience with the dealers, and the auction houses were no better. I had a dreadful experience with auction houses some time ago when my mother sold a load of items, put them in auction, and one of the items that had been sold and bought by somebody who we believe was connected with the auction house is now in the V&A Museum in London as one of their prize exhibits. Tell me what you think of this new format. It seems to be just 2 items, but I'm going to try spreading out so that maybe we get 4 or 5 different topics in a video. Let me know what you think. What's coming up next? Well, I've got some exciting things coming up. I have a friend, Alan, who's a jeweler. He makes jewellery. He makes beautiful handmade jewellery in an office right by the seafront on a little island in Essex. Absolutely beautiful, very, very knowledgeable guy, makes beautiful stuff. And he said he'll give me a look round and make a video with me on how he operates and what he makes. I think that'll be really good. I've also got France calling again. I've got a project that finishes at the end of this month, and I'm hoping to go off 2 weeks from the end of the month and go off to France, do the last 2 weeks of the project from France, and then have some time off in France. Recently I've had a lot of time in France, but I haven't necessarily had time off, so I've been working out there during the day, and I quite fancy some time off just during the day, go and walk the dog, part of that semi-retirement plan. So that will be coming up too. And of course, if I go to France, I'd very much like to show you my friend's property where she lives off-grid on a mountainside overlooking the Pyrenees, and she's completely off-grid, and she has said she'd like to show me that, but obviously when it was snowing and whatever, it wasn't the time to look at it. And I'm seeing her next week actually, because she's in the UK, and hopefully we'll catch up and get time to actually look at her off-grid living in France. So that's 3 nice things coming up, and hopefully we'll see you there. Once again, thank you to all the people that have put beautiful comments. Do you know what? I haven't had one. Yeah, I've had one arsey comment on my short about the government, but hey, you can expect that with politics. But I haven't had one on my videos. I haven't had a single nasty comment. I've had the most lovely, heartfelt comments. So thank you so much, and thank you for subscribing and following along. We're currently on 6,500 viewers. I never believed that would happen. I said it would be a real channel when it hits 1,000 viewers, and now we've sort of got that exponential growth, and it's all down to you guys, so thank you very much. Probably tells you why isn't my phone working? Why isn't my watch telling me what's on there? Fucking thing. It's about 10 minutes behind. It's not much good for a watch. Anyway, back we go again.